Because I felt personally that I needed something extra.
It has become one of the most sought-after treatments since Viagra.
More energy, more endurance.
Men have called it the fountain of youth.
My health is a lot better.
But when it comes to taking testosterone,
All of a sudden, as my energy levels went way up.
doctors are cautious.
The data is controversial.
They're discovering problems which include blood clots, infertility, even tumors.
And prostate cancer has been a concern for men taking testosterone.
Injections.
Dr. Larry Lipschultz is a urologist with Houston's Baylor College of Medicine.
How often do you see a patient coming to you asking for testosterone?
Every day.
What are some of the risks?
I don't think there's real risks with testosterone. I think what gets miscommunicated is the men who take excess amounts of testosterone, usually from someone who's not a physician, to achieve unrealistic goals.
Feeling like a shadow of your former self?
What used to be seen as the symptoms of aging are now at the center of $1 billion business.
Introducing Cryo-Test. Increased testosterone.
Over-the-counter products promise results. In Houston, a company called the Low-T Center will soon open a third location. Dr. Lipschultz, however, doesn't recommend either.
These so-called T clinics that are springing up are extremely entrepreneurial. They're not really targeted for the patient's health. They're targeted with a very high profit incentive.
Low-T declined our request for an interview.
A better sex drive.
Lipschultz, meantime, said testosterone changes lives.
Is it addictive?
Testosterone is not an addictive medication. I think what can become addictive is the good way you feel.
And long story short, I feel amazing.
For Spencer Morris, a 24-year-old living in Toronto, testosterone changed everything. He documented his experience on YouTube.
I had tried pretty much everything. So I had tried eating a really clean diet.
Doctors determined genetics were behind his low levels and made him depressed.
I sleep well at night. My body functions properly.
Yet he warns that other doctors may be prescribing testosterone too easily, something that may not always lead to the healthiest results. Andrew Horansky, KHOU 11 News. First, there's intense pain.
It was 10 times worse than any labor pain I've ever been through.
Then there's a rash.
It's pretty bad. I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through.
This is shingles. The virus enters our nervous system after we have chickenpox, and it awakens in times of stress or when the immune system is weak.
That would have never been something that I would have thought that would have happened.
Because it is most often associated with patients over 60.
So that was the last thing, that I had thought it was.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, more than 1 million Americans get shingles each year, and there is an FDA-approved vaccine that could reduce the chances of getting it by at least 50%. But not everyone can get it.
I actually saw shingles in a 5-year-old girl.
Dr. Melanie Mazoon is a pediatrician at the Kelsey-Siebold Clinic. Like many physicians, she recommends the vaccine for patients over 60. She worries so-called underage users could risk complications, such as rashes. Plus, it's expensive.
People under age 50 frequently will ask for the vaccine, and sometimes physicians will order that. It's not FDA approved for that age range, and so it's not covered by insurance, and those people have to pay out of pocket.
Though it could cost hundreds of dollars, some shingles sufferers say they would have at least liked the option of trying it.
I guess I kind of felt like I didn't have to go through all that if I could have just gotten vaccinated.
I don't want to go through that again.
Something that is unfortunately possible. Though rare, some victims can get shingles again. Andrew Horansky, KHOU 11 News. Blake Huddleston is an active 5-year-old who loves to play with his older sister. But what hasn't come so easily for him is sleep. And for years, his family struggled.
He'd just be up all night, so wound up, not able to sleep.
So his mom recently tried this, melatonin, an over-the-counter natural hormone that comes in a pill. It's produced by the brain and stimulates sleep.
Pop one out.
Most nights, Heather Huddleston crushes it into a powder, mixes it with juice, and Blake is off to bed.
He seems to be just growing a lot more efficiently. He's sleeping better, he's eating better. It's helped regulate his sleep cycles.
Run through this checklist.
More parents are discovering that too, finding their children are not only better behaved at home, but better performers at school after they take melatonin.
Yet there are some concerns. Doctors say there isn't enough research on long-term effects. What's more, melatonin does not have FDA approval for medical use.
That's just a scientific fact.
Dr. Adia Franklin is a pediatrician at Texas Children's and often recommends it for kids with developmental disabilities, such as autism or ADHD. She suggests trying other approaches first, such as turning off bright screens before bedtime, in order to increase melatonin the natural way.
For children, it can actually take up to an hour for their brains to calm down in order for them to be able to make their natural melatonin and go to sleep.
La Pluma.
And yet, melatonin doesn't work for everyone. This mom says her teen daughter tried it last year after a neurologist prescribed it for dysautonomia. Instead of sleeping, the 15-year-old complained of blurred vision and increased anxiety.
She said that she was like the chalkboard would like wave and stuff like that. And then we started noticing that she was having panic attacks.
Which stopped once she cut out melatonin.
Just went away slowly after 24 to 48 hours.
Doctors say other side effects could include drowsiness, headaches, and even weird dreams. Huddleston says her son hasn't experienced any of that, but urges other moms and dads to talk to their doctor first before trying the supplement. Andrew Horansky, KHOU 11 News.
Because most people who need transplants.
5 years ago, Rex Mouse of Houston received a new liver. Though he says he's healthier than ever, he still has his troubles.
All of my labs are great, my liver's healthy, but I was rejected for life insurance by company after company after company because I received a liver.
After his experience, Mouse started an online support network and learned donors suffer too.
Schedule the surgery?
People like Linda Bramblett, who gave a kidney to her brother.
So I had to go to surgery without health insurance.
The self-employed swim instructor said her decision changed her status with insurers. Despite her good health, they suddenly claim she had a pre-existing condition.
And I've run into some people who said if I had known this, it would have changed my decision.
Legally, hospitals are required to notify donors of the risk and urge them to talk to their insurers before surgery. But not all patients say they're informed.
I found out some things afterwards that really surprised me.
Philip Nisley of Austin gave his kidney to a coworker, but said no one told him it could affect his coverage if he switched plans.
I just wish that, like, the financial risk, the insurance risk were better stated to people who are donors.
It is difficult to know the number of donors affected because Texas doesn't track them. According to the state's biggest health insurance provider, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, coverage is handled case by case, but doctors say complications are rare.
We see no disadvantage to a healthy donor.
Dr. Eileen Brewer is with Texas Children's Hospital.
They do very well. They bounce back within 3 to 6 weeks. They go back to work. They resume a normal life. They do everything they did before.
Dr. Brewer has seen prospective donors opt out in fear of losing their insurance. It is a discouraging reality in a state with one of the lowest percentages of donors in the country, and a procedure that might have otherwise saved a life. Andrew Horansky, KHOU 11 News.